Already back in the studio again, and today we're doing another shoe still life because the last one was pretty successful, so we're just gonna kind of keep going. And today we have a pair of Nikes here. These are probably the most expensive shoes that I own, just because they are Nikes, so they're kind of expensive, and then they are kind of special because they have roses on the back of them. So I thought I'd kind of play into that theme and just kind of have a bunch of roses around them. So kind of simple shoot. So let's get into it. Alright, we have everything all set up, and now I kind of just have to fine tune everything until I get, all the lighting as perfect as I want it. Everything has been fine tuned. This is where we are with the lighting setup right now. So this is what the image looks like, kind of just with the shoes themselves. But we got the face camera right here, and then kind of my backlights here, because we are shooting black on black. We got two lights back here. This one has a 20-inch degree on it with a red gel, and then that one's just a plain light with a red gel on it. And then we also have a medium softbox off here, just kind of giving some soft light down below on the shoes. And then up front here, we have a light with a 10-inch degree, and I just have a little kind of piece of cardboard in front of it, so I'm not getting a light kind of on the top part of the shoes. It's mainly just focusing on the flowers themselves. But now kind of all we have to do is add the roses, and then we'll kind of be done. Alright, so here is what the scene looks like with everything, all the flowers and everything all spread out. And then here is the image that we got straight from camera, which, I think it looks pretty good as it is right now. So it won't really require that much, retouching, but now we just kind of got to take this into Photoshop. So first I took this image into Lightroom and kind of just, did some quick simple edits, kind of just nailed down the color palette that I wanted to go with. And then kind of once I had that, just do some, local adjustments, like, fixing the kind of highlights on the roses of the shoes. I thought they were a little too bright. And then also kind of, brought up the shadows in the roses themselves, because I thought, they were a little bit too dark, and, they weren't really bringing as much to it as I wanted. And then, kind of just also, darkening the image as a whole a little bit, and then also bringing up the saturation of the reds more, just kind of play around with the colors. And then after I had the image basically the way that I wanted in Lightroom, I took it into Photoshop, where I ran my frequency separation action, and then I started cleaning things up from there. Like, the first thing I did was get rid of some roses that were kind of sticking out of the side of one of the shoes, because I thought, they're taking away a little bit from the actual shoes themselves, which is kind of what I wanted to show off. And then I also kind of just, fix some highlights, darken stuff like that, because it's pretty easy to do that in Photoshop with my frequency separation action, just blending all the colors and making sure, everything mixed well. And then kind of from there, I also just cleaned up the background more, mainly focused, on the front seamless. Because, the way I had it, the black was showing with some red from the gels. I kind of just wanted, that to be completely the red gel, just kind of, to bring everything more together, kind of have like a nice, solid color red foreground that, mixed nicely with the roses and then kind of just leads up to the black of the shoes. I thought that worked nicely. And then from there, I added a color balance layer just to kind of play around with the reds a little bit more to get them, as nice, of a red as I could. And then I also, was basically done. So I just, added some LUTs to kind of play on that as well, bring the reds out more, add some, more contrast and, just kind of whatever else I thought looked nice. And then kind of from there, just looking at the image as a whole, some last minute things like getting rid of some of the flowers in front of the shoes because I thought, they were, taking away a little bit from the shoes. They were a little distracting to me. And then kind of just cleaning up the back seamless as well, because with the LUTs, kind of brought out some, more kind of noticeable things like going on in the background. And the last thing I did was kind of just crop it down a little bit into the image because the height, I thought it was too much. And I didn't really want to crop into the sides though, so I could only do it a little bit because I didn't want to have my image, out of proportion. So I kind of had, compromise a little bit there. Right? I think the image turned out great. Definitely a simple shoot and setup. Not really too many complications to it. Just kind of wanted to play off of the roses on the back of the shoes with actual roses. Then kind of have that dark red gel vibe aesthetic, which I think works nicely. Was pretty simple. I didn't really have a lot of time in the studio. If I had a lot more time and more roses, I think I could have played around with getting multiple shots. Playing around with different angles of the shoe. But also being new to shoe photography, I don't really know like the best positions to put them in. I know kind of you got like the side one, the back ones, the front ones, but I don't really have kind of like the layout of it down yet. So probably the more I do these, the better I will get at positioning the shoes themselves. And then on the editing side, it was a pretty simple edit. Not really much to it. Just kind of cleaned up the background mostly, which is definitely nice when that happens because it kind of shows how much you can actually do in studio to basically almost get it perfect, and then it makes the editing a lot easier. But the more time I spent staring at the image while editing, the more the reds in the image started to look like orange, which probably definitely tells you something about my eyesight, and probably that I spend too much time staring at screens, which is probably not the best thing either, but it is what it is. Probably will do one more shoe still life in the future, just because I have one more pair of shoes that I think I could do a nice kind of cool play on them as well. So look out for that. But other than that, just trying something out new photography wise, and just making the most of my free time.